Alright, y'all, here we are again with our Mr. Peabody character, and he has a weapon that he picked up. It's a gun, and the gun has two different positions. It's either put away, which is the way it starts off with, up here, or it's in the shoot position, and we had it go to the shoot position when we press the space bar like this. Then after it's in the shoot position, if I press the shoot button again, it'll actually shoot a bullet. That's what we want, and that's what we're going to do in this video. See, so I press the spacebar button here, and we actually got the shoot debug statement. We hit that line of code. So what we need to do today is we need to get another sprite that's going to be like the bullet that we're going to use, and we're going to have that bullet do an do all its work. So first off, let's start with getting a new sprite to use for our bullet. So I'm going to look in this Unity folder here that I made, and I have a lot of resources, and I kind of drew a picture of a bullet. Okay, so I'm going to take that picture and drag and drop it into my assets folder. Good. Now I don't need that. Close that. Boom. Close that window. And I drag it into my assets folder, and now I have a bullet sprite. So I'll put it in my sprite folder, keep things organized. And let me see. Woo, the bullet's way bigger, but that's fine. What we'll just do is we'll shrink it down to a reasonable size to look like it could come out of this gun. All right, and let's get in there and let's see. Yeah, just make it about the size of something that looks like it could actually come out of the gun. Vroom. All right, so let's say that's the size of our bullet. So to start off with, let me just take that sized bullet and make a prefab out of it. Make a prefab out of it. And now let's add a script to the bullet. So just see what it says. Add component, new script, and I'll call it bullet. And then for that script, a bullet just basically has to move forward until there's no more. It just moves forward basically. So in this bullet script, which I'm going to open here, I want to know, basically, I want to let the user tell me how fast to move the bullet. And it's a bullet, so it's probably going to move real fast. So by default, I'll give it a value of 12. And then in the update statement, private void, update, I just keep moving the bullet forward. So this transform dot translate vector 3 dot to the right times move speed, and you always got to do time delta time, time delta time, and that keeps the bullet moving forward. Now the only thing is we don't want it moving forward forever. At some point we want the bullet to stop, so we will have another variable here. We'll call it lifetime. Okay, like how long the bullet stays on the screen, lifetime. And I think if we left it on for 0.5, half a second, that's long enough. And then a private variable to mark the time that this came on the screen so we can see how much time elapsed. Default it to -1. So to get the time that it came on the screen, we'll just have in the start function something that marks the time. So mark equals time dot time. Okay. And now that's the start function. So we get when the bullet was created, time dot time. And the bullet just moves forward. And what it does is as it's moving forward, we're just going to check what the time is. So we're going to check time dot time minus the marked time. If that is greater than the lifetime, then we will this dot destroy. No, actually it's just the command is destroy this dot game object, which takes it out of our scene. Okay, so the bullet will exist, it'll move forward for half a second, and after half a second it comes out the scene. So let me save that and let's see if there's any errors for when the script gets processed. Okay, clear that out. So that's good. So here we have a bullet on the screen. You can see it over here too. And if I press play, this bullet is on the screen. It exists. So as soon as the game starts, the bullet should move forward, and then it goes away after a certain amount of time. And that's basically what we want. So let's make sure that that bullet is saved as a prefab. And now I could delete it from the scene because we're only going to want bullets to come in when we save from the gun. So if we go back to our gun, in our gun script, we're going to want to know what that prefab is for the bullet so we could make one and shoot it. So over here in the gun script, I'm going to add a public game object prefab bullet. Okay. And first equals null, we'll have to let the user tell us what the prefab is. So now I'll come back in the Unity, and here in the gun script, when the script processes, it should give us an opportunity to tell it. Good. So here's my bullet prefab, right? So go back to my gun, and on the gun script here, I'm going to give it the bullet prefab. That's what I want it to create when I press to shoot. Save. Okay, so now in the gun script, the first time I press the shoot button, which is the space bar, it's going to take the gun out. But if the gun's already out, then I actually want to do the shooting. So let's break it off into another function. Private void shoot bullet. It's going to be a function we're going to call if we're ready to do some shooting. Rootin' tootin' shooting. Shoot bullet is the function we're going to call if the gun's out and we press shoot. And over here, what we have to do is instantiate the prefab. We have to instantiate this prefab bullet. That means we're going to create a bullet object in our scene. Okay, instantiate prefab bullet. And we're going to want a variable of the game object of that. So game object bullet equals the bullet that we just instantiated, so we could have the pointer to it in the scene. And what we're going to do is we're going to say the bullet, just when we instantiate it, dot transform dot position equals the gun's position. This dot transform dot position. Okay, so that the bullet is coming out of the gun, and then everything else from the bullet script should take care of itself. So let's see what happens now. I press play. All right, and let me zoom out so we can see a little bit more of this bullet action in both windows. Let me press play. Okay, so the first is guns out. Second one is the bullet. And you know, it's pretty good, but you see the bullet is coming out a little bit too low over here. If you look, it's not actually where the picture of my gun has the, see how it's coming out a little bit lower? So what we're going to do is we're going to give the gun another empty child object, and this is going to, we're just going to call this the spawn position for the bullet. And so we could see the position in the game screen. We're going to add a little icon for it. There we go. And it's really big. I think I could control if it's a 3D icon or there, if it's just an icon like that. You can see the little purple dot. So now the purple dot, I could position it to be, see, that looks good, where the gun bullet is going to originate from when it comes out the gun. So now you see that's lined up more with this little hole right there. So that's a spawn point, and it's the gun, and the child object is called spawn. File, save. So now all we're going to have to do is when the gun instantiates the bullet, that it uses the spawn point, not the gun's position. All right, because the gun's position is the center of the sprite, which is not exactly where the picture is of the gun hole. So over here, we're going to need to know where that spawn point is. So private game object spawn, or private, we need the transform of it. Transform spawn equals null. Okay. Save it. So now we're giving ourselves a chance in the gun script. Read that thing. In the gun script, here it is. But why doesn't it? Oh, because I said private. Darn it! Why did I do that? It needs to be public. Public, so I can see it in the window. And let me just drag in. I like keeping my publics together. Put it right there. Save. Go back over here. Let it read it. And then it should show the spawn. There you go, spawn. So now we can take this spawn position and tell the script about it. And since we made it a transform, it realized that this game object has a transform, and it used just the transform of that for spawn. All right, so now our spawn object is set. And then over here, when we're setting the position of the bullet, instead of using this transform.position, we will use the spawn object transform transform.position. Okay, there. So now with this little code change, we should be able to control it. The bullet looks like it's coming out from the right spot. So I press play, and the first click draws the gun out, and subsequent clicks. Okay, that looks a little better. Now say we want the bullets to go a little further than they're going right now. We could either make the bullets go faster or make the bullets stay alive longer. So we have them staying alive for half a second. So I click on the asset window, I click on the bullet prefab, and here the lifetime's 0.5 seconds. I could say a second, okay? And since I am editing the prefab itself, I don't have to press apply. Now let me press play. So the bullet stays alive long enough to go across the whole screen. So first, I press to load the gun. There we go. All right. So on this video, we got the gun shooting bullets, and from the right place in the picture of the sprite. One more thing we're gonna do is, when is the gun gonna go back and get put away? When is the gun gonna put away? So let me look back over here at the gun script. Let's say that if you draw the gun out, he holds it there like it's gonna shoot, and then we'll have it automatically get put away after a certain amount of time. So we're gonna have a variable to hold the time that we take the gun out, and I'll just call that mark. Okay, so when we take the gun out, that's this animation right here, I'll say mark equals time.time. All right, and then here's the update function. Well, every time we shoot a bullet, mark equals, it resets the timer so it doesn't put the gun away, time.time. All right, so either when I take the gun out, but if I don't do anything with the gun, if I don't press shoot, then after a certain amount of time, it's going to put the gun back. So what'll happen is, here in the update function, I'll do a check for if time.time minus mark is greater than, let's make a variable for how long it stays out. We'll make a public float put away time. And we'll make it equal to 1 second. Okay. So if more time elapses than the put away time, then we will just do the animation to put the gun away. And so we'll say anim.set bool put away. Is that the name of the animation for gun, right? It's put away right there. Put away, comma, true. Okay. Oh, wait, gun out is true. You know, I gotta look at the animator for gun. let's make sure. I don't look at the name of the animation. I gotta look at the animator. So here's the animation. Here is taking the gun out is true, and then gun out is false. Yeah, good thing I checked that. Gun out is false. We'll put the gun away. All right, so let's see. Press play. Press play over here. And let me look at the scene view. Okay. So first one I press. Gotta click on the game window. The gun comes out and it goes back by itself. Gun comes out and it goes back by itself. Gun comes out and I shoot a bunch of bullets. When I stop shooting, it goes back by itself. All right, that's enough for this video. Yeah, and I can still do movement and jumping. Ooh, wait a minute, look at that. I could jump forever. We're gonna have to address that later. But for this video, that's what we're gonna do today. See you later. Bye.